Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and sisters in Islam. Today, this message is not for everyone. It is not for those who live in oblivion or in the comfort of carelessness. It is not for those who move forward without asking themselves what Allah really wants for them. No, this message is for you, the chosen one. The one who has been feeling a strange pressure in his heart for some time, an invisible tension, as if something important was being prepared, as if a new page was about to be written in your life. You may not have said anything, but deep down, you feel something changing. Less noise around you, fewer responses to your invocations, less presence around you, and yet, a mysterious force continues to move toward you. You breathe, but your soul is alert. You live, but your heart is waiting. Wait for what? Wait. Divine confirmation. And today, she arrives. Yes, your final test begins now. This is not a punishment. It is a call. A call from Allah. A strong signal from heaven telling you, prepare yourself, for what I have written for you is greater than what you have lost. But first, you must go through the last stage. And this step is the most difficult, but also the most beautiful. Because through it, you will finally understand why you suffered so much. Hold on tight, because this video is a revelation for your soul. Don't cut her off. Don't half listen. Every word is for you, because deep down, you know that it wasn't chance that brought you here. It was Allah. Have you ever wondered why Allah remains silent sometimes, especially when you cry out from the depths of your heart? Why when you desperately seek a sign, a word, a light, everything around you seems to go out? This silence, this emptiness, this feeling of being abandoned. It is not forgetting. It is not indifference. It is confirmation. Allah's silence is a more powerful answer than any word. Because when He is silent, He shapes. When He is silent, He purifies. When He is silent, He elevates you without you yet understanding how. And it is precisely in this shadowy area, in this heavy silence, that your final test begins. It's no coincidence that you feel empty. It's no coincidence that everything feels heavier. It's because you're entering a stage that concerns not just your life here, but your eternal destiny. Allah does not answer all your questions immediately because He is in the process of to teach you a language that only the soul understands. The language of naked faith, a faith without visible proof. A faith without comfort. A faith that remains standing while everything around it crumbles. This silence, however painful, is a sign that you are in the ranks of the elected. Those being prepared for a greater mission. Look at the prophets. Look at Yusuf, peace be upon him. Plunged into a well, sold into slavery, imprisoned for years in oblivion. Where was the voice of Allah? Where was deliverance? It was on the way, but invisible to the naked eye. And this is what Allah does with you. He works in the unseen. He prepares the opening. But He wants you to cross over the desert of His silence without denying your trust in Him. This silence is sacred. It is a spiritual cocoon. If you remain firm, you will emerge from it. Metamorphosis. That's when real transformation begins. Not when things get better, but when you stay true to yourself, even when everything seems dead. This silence pushes you inward. It forces you to see within your soul what the distractions of the world prevent you from hearing. You feel alone, but Allah is closer to you than ever. He listens to you. Even when you no longer have the strength to speak, He reads the tears you hide. He understands the sighs no one hears. And if He makes you pass through this silence, it is because He has confirmed you. Yes, He has confirmed you as one of His own, and that's why you have to pass the test. This phase is like a veil. Behind it lies light. But to reach it, you must cross the invisible. You must walk by faith, not by sight. It is an immense honor to be called to such spiritual depth. Few are chosen. Few are able to endure this silence without giving up. But you, Allah saw you capable. He knows what you still don't know about yourself. And if you feel that your heart still resists, tell yourself this: Allah's silence is never empty. It is filled with His wisdom. If He is silent, it is because He is acting where your eyes cannot see. And soon, what is hidden will come to light. You have surely noticed, the heaviest, most painful, most suffocating moments do not come at the beginning of your journey, but when you're almost at your limit. This is precisely where the final test begins. Not when you are strong, not when you are surrounded, but when you are most exhausted. Why? Because Allah wants that your final victory be attributed to none other than Him. When you have nothing left to hold on to, when even your own strength betrays you, when you have given everything and nothing responds, that is when the light descends. That is when the truth is revealed. The final test is coming when you are most fragile, not to break you, but so that you see that your real strength is not in you, but in Him. You think you have lost all energy, but it is in this moment of exhaustion that the greatest of rebirths is hidden. It is exactly at this moment that Shaitan whispers, "You are abandoned. You will not succeed. Look at you. You are not even able to pray like before." But what he does not want you to know is that your exhaustion is not proof of defeat. It is proof that you are moving forward. We only get tired on the way. Those who sleep feel nothing. Think of Musa. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. When he fled from Pharaoh, he had nothing left. Tired, alone, a stranger. He collapsed under a tree and said, "Lord, I am in great need of the good that you will send down to me." Surat Al-Qasas 24. And it is at this precise moment, in his fatigue, in his emptiness, that divine help has arrived.
This is a spiritual rule that few understand. The closer you get to divine breakthrough, the more intense the test becomes. This is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are about to be found. The final battle is never fought when everything is calm. It is fought when your soul is on the edge. Why do you think so many believers give up just before deliverance? Because they mistake the intensity of the trial for the wrath of Allah, when in reality, this is proof of selection. Allah does not allow just anyone to cross this final line. He does not put this pressure on weak souls. If He has put it on you, it is because He has chosen you. Your exhaustion is real. Your body may be broken, your heart weary, but your soul is strengthening. You don't see it yet, but every second you hold on to this fatigue, you're getting closer to the threshold, where the light of Allah will shine through. And if today you listen to these words in tears, in silence, with a heavy heart, know this. This is exactly where your turnaround begins. It's the trough before the wave, the silence before the thunder, the darkness before the lightning. The final test isn't meant to bury you. It's meant to lift you up by cutting the last ties that are holding you back.
You think you're losing, but in reality, you're tearing yourself away from the old you. And Allah is preparing you for what comes next. Not a mundane future, not a temporary respite, but a complete change of state. You've made it this far. Don't stop now. You are closer than you think of what Allah has promised you. There is one thing that the final test always reveals: who you really are before Allah. Not who you say you are, not what people think of you, but who you are when there is no one left to applaud you, no more human help, no more immediate solutions. This is where the truth comes out. Allah, in His wisdom, places you in this ultimate phase not to shame you, but to reveal yourself to yourself. He already knows who you are, but you've forgotten. The test reminds you of the strength you hide. It brings down the masks, the illusions, the dependencies. Do you think you need certain people to keep going? Wait and see how Allah will show you that He alone is enough for you. You thought your balance came from your job, your surroundings, your daily life. But all of that has been taken away or turned upside down, and yet you're still breathing. You're still moving forward. Why? Because you finally discover your true source of stability, the direct link with your Creator. And in this discovery, another spiritual phenomenon is triggered. The more stripped you are, the more Allah begins to deposit something new in you. It's not visible, it's not loud, but it's real. It's like an inner light, a strange peace in the very heart of chaos, a calm that comes neither from logic nor from circumstances, but from the presence of Allah in your heart. You don't understand everything, but you feel supported. Your heart bleeds, but it resists. Your mind doubts, but your soul clings on. And this silent perseverance, this naked faith, this is what is precious to Allah. This is what makes the divine gaze does not leave you. You may not have seen an opening yet, but every night you didn't give up. Every prayer you said in tears, every Amin you wearily whispered, everything is counted, everything is heard, everything is recorded. Do not think you are invisible. You are being watched from heaven. And your silence in pain is worth more than 1,000 words spoken in abundance. The final test comes to reveal sincere hearts. And today, Allah has confirmed you. You are among those who are tested because they have been chosen. Understand this. If you are still standing despite everything, it is not by chance. It is proof. Proof that your soul is being refined for a new role. You won't stay in this phase forever. But what you're learning here, in the silence, in the solitude, in the crushing, is a wisdom that will take you far. Very far. And soon, when Allah judges that your heart is ready, He will reverse the situation with a single word, with a single decree. And everything that seemed blocked will open like a split sea. Everything that seemed lost will resurface. But in the meantime, you must hold on. You must keep walking even in tears. For every step in this darkness is a step toward the purest light you have ever known. Stay with Allah, even when everything within you wants to stop, even when your heart no longer understands. For now your name is inscribed among those who have endured the ultimate test. There comes a time when the trial no longer seeks to bring you down, but to lift you up. It no longer comes as a burden, but as an invisible ascent. And it is at this point, precisely, that many give in. Why? Because spiritual ascent at first resembles a fall.
When Allah raises you up, He does not first give you height. He begins by tearing you away from the foundations you yourself have laid. He shakes you, He breaks what is not solid.
He tears you away from what is temporary, so that you finally understand where to place your anchor. And as long as your heart depended on anything other than Him, this trial had to take place. You see, the final test does not come to add more pain. It comes to complete a purification begun long ago. It is like a fire. It does not destroy, it consumes the impure. And this fire in which you find yourself now is the fire of the demanding mercy of Allah. For He does not want you to remain in an in-between state. He does not want you to be content with an average life, a lukewarm faith, a divided heart. He wants to make you whole. And for that, He takes you through the depths, through that dark valley that no one understands. You may have tried to explain your condition to loved ones. You may have heard phrases like, "You're making life too complicated for yourself. It's not that serious. You should just let go." But in truth, what you're experiencing is not psychological. What you're experiencing is spiritual. You're going through an inner birth. And like all births, it passes through a narrow, dark, uncomfortable passage. You are dying to the old you. You are emerging from an old cycle. And the final test comes. Speed up this process. Allah saw you ready, even if you still feel far away. And it is often in these moments of self-doubt that He reveals the true nature of your faith. Not the faith you display, not the one you repeat in your invocations, but the one that remains when everything was torn away. Have you noticed how certain things you thought were essential disappear without explanation? Certain people, certain opportunities, certain projects that collapse when you had clung to them with such hope? This is not a loss. It is a relief. Allah empties what weighs you down so that you may rise. And the more He empties, the more He prepares a space for something immense. You cannot carry a divine burden with a saturated heart. You must first be freed from whatever is holding you down. Remember this. Spiritual ascent often begins as a descent. The believer who moves forward does not seek to understand all the whys. He accepts to be shaped. He accepts to pass through the crucible of the test, because he knows that in the end there is a transformed face, a strengthened faith, a closeness to Allah that nothing can shake. You are not sinking. You are being rebuilt. You are not failing. You are learning true submission, the kind that does not depend on circumstances, but of pure love for your Lord. And when Allah sees this in you, then He says to His angels, "Look at my servant. Look how he trusts me, even in the night, he's ready." And at that moment, the decree changes. What you no longer expected, what you had buried, what you thought was lost, Allah can resurrect it in an instant. But not before your heart reaches this point. Allah is sufficient for me. There is a secret that few understand in the final test. What you are experiencing is a response, not a punishment. You prayed. You asked Allah to draw you closer to Him, to purify your heart, to give you a higher purpose. But you didn't know that in order to answer that request, Allah would have to break you, then rebuild you. What you are experiencing today is the beginning of this reconstruction, not that of your exterior, but that of your soul. And this can only be done in silence, abandonment, solitude. For it is in these invisible places that the soul speaks. It is in these moments when everything seems finished, that what will never end is born. You are not experiencing a simple painful episode. You are experiencing a spiritual mutation, a passage, a shift. It's as if Allah has opened a door for you that few dare to cross. the one where you move from comfortable faith to conscious faith, the one where you no longer practice out of habit, but out of love, where you no longer worship out of obligation, but out of passion. And that level, it is reserved for the chosen souls. But to reach it, you have to die to certain things. Die to the old you, die to your false certainties, die to the attachments that kept you away, die to illusions, die to that image of yourself that you protected, when Allah wanted to give you a much greater reality. And this is precisely where many people back down. Because this passage requires it go completely. To trust when nothing reassures. To continue to pray when the pain is still there. To remain faithful to Allah even when you no longer feel anything. But that is where the believer becomes a servant, not just a practitioner, not just a seeker of blessings, but a lover of his Lord. You may be on your knees today, you may be broken, but know that every tear sincerely shed in this ordeal is a seed that will bear immense fruit. Don't let your mind fool you into thinking it's useless. Nothing, absolutely nothing is lost with Allah. He has seen every night you resisted the urge to give up. Every day you got up when everything inside you wanted to run away. Every prayer you offered without strength but with faith. And it is at that moment, when the soul perseveres without seeing anything, that the heart opens to a light that the eyes cannot perceive. A light that comes softly, silently, but transforms everything. You don't know where it comes from. You don't know why you feel this peace despite the chaos. But you know that Allah is there, and that He guides you. This is the final test. It is not just a difficulty to overcome. It is a divine preparation for you to become who you really are. And you have no idea what you're becoming. You don't yet know how strong, how luminous, how grounded this version of yourself you're building is. And soon you will look back. You will remember what you endured, and you will understand that each injury brought you closer to the center. Every solitude has aligned you with the truth. Every loss has brought you back to the essential, Allah. So hang in there. What you're going through is hard, but what you get in return is immense. And that's just the beginning. When Allah decides to test you, it is never to destroy you. It is always to wake you up. But this awakening is not the one the world understands. It is not about becoming more intelligent, more cultured, more visible. It is about becoming more lucid, about your place in this world and your eternal connection to the beyond. What you are experiencing is not a crisis. It is an inner awakening. And every pain, every prolonged silence, every lack of response in your invocation is not a rejection. It is a call to go further, deeper, where most people don't go, because that inner place requires courage. It requires you to be naked before Allah, without a mask, without a role, without defense. And you, Allah has led you there, because you are ready. Even if you don't see it, even if you feel weak, even if you still doubt, it is precisely because your heart has been purified of all pride, of all arrogance, that the presence of Allah can enter there with power. And in this presence, you feel something you have never tasted before. You may have nothing materially left, you may have lost things you thought were essential. But deep in your heart, you feel alive, strangely alive. Because what you are touching is authenticity. It's no longer a faith learned, recited, imitated. It's a lived faith. A faith that holds you when everything fails you. A faith that nourishes you when everything drains you. A faith that needs neither proof, nor miracles, nor quick results. Just Allah. And when you get to that level of connection, everything changes. Not around you, but within you. Your view of the ordeal changes. You no longer experience it as an injustice, but as a divine invitation. You no longer see the lack but the meaning. You no longer feel anger but peace. because you understand that it is not you who controls history. It is Allah. And you accept with submission that His wisdom is beyond your understanding. This acceptance is the highest level of tawakkul. It is not simply saying, I trust in Allah. It is really to live this confidence at every moment, even when everything collapses. Even when your soul is at its end. Even when your invocation seems suspended. You don't know when deliverance will come. But you no longer make it a condition of continuing. You stay, you move forward, you pray. Because your loyalty is no longer tied to circumstances, but to love. And this love, Allah loves it. This heart that remains faithful even in the absence of immediate reward, even in prolonged pain. This heart is selected. This heart has reached a maturity that few know. This heart is ready to carry blessings that no one can take away from him. What you are experiencing is the fulfillment of a silent process that you did not see coming. For years, Allah has been preparing you. For months, He has been refining you. For weeks, He has been lightening your load. And today, He's testing you. For to settle down. You are not being abandoned. You are being lifted up. You are not being ignored. You are looked at carefully. And very soon, Allah will change the tone. Very soon, what seemed like an end will become a beginning. But for that, stay a little longer in this night. Do not flee. Do not accelerate. Let the wisdom of Allah do its work. For what will come out of you after this final test will be of a beauty that you yourself will not be able to recognize.